going on, y'all? Welcome to another episode of So This is the World Christian Podcast. I am your host, Michelle. This is your other host, Jasmine. Thank you for joining us for another week. As always, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you never miss when we drop a video. Make sure to follow us on Rumble. The link to that is in the description box down below. As you guys know, we can be clipped any day over here on YouTube, so follow us over there, leave your comments over there so we can react to them in next week's episode. And also, make sure to use our code for Coffee Brand Coffee. All right, so for our first story, as you guys can see on the screen, it says Pope suggests blessings for same-sex unions may be possible. This has been the big talk in the Catholic and Christian world for the past couple days. Basically says Pope Francis has suggested there could be ways to bless same-sex unions, responding to 5 conservative cardinals who challenged him to affirm church teaching on homosexuality ahead of a big meeting where the LGBTQ plus Catholics are on the agenda. The Vatican on Monday published a letter to Francis, wrote to the cardinals on July 11th after receiving a list of 5 questions, or what they call dubia, from them a day earlier. In it, Francis suggests that such blessings could be studied if they didn't confuse the blessings with sacramental marriage. New Ways Ministry, which advocates for the Alphabet Catholics, said the letter significantly advances efforts to make the Alphabet Catholics welcomed in the church and one big straw towards breaking the camel's back in their marginalization. The Vatican holds that marriage is an indissoluble union between man and woman. As a result, it has long opposed gay marriage, but even Francis has voiced support for civil laws extending legal benefits to same-sex spouses, and Catholic priests in parts of Europe have been blessing same-sex unions without Vatican censure. Francis' response to the cardinals, however, marks a reversal from the Vatican's current official position. In an explanatory note in 2021, the Congregation for the Doctrine of the Faith said flat out that the church couldn't bless gay unions because God cannot bless sin. But in his new letter, Francis reiterated that matrimony is a union between a man and a woman. But responding to the cardinal's questions about homosexual unions and blessings, he said pastoral charity requires patience and understanding, and that regardless, priests cannot become judges who only deny, reject, and exclude. So basically, the rest of this article goes on where he states that they are going to take same-sex unions on a case-by-case basis, and that they should start using more discernment in their church to bless those type of unions, which the cardinals have issues with because obviously in the Bible, like it says up here, God cannot bless sin. All right. We're not Catholics. We need to reiterate this every time we do a Catholic story. However, we all are reading out the same Bible. All right. Just so we all on the same page here. Jasmine, what are your thoughts so far?
It sounds like compromising to me because in an effort to be inclusive, we are leading people, and I say we as in like the body of Christ. We're leading people down a dangerous path. Mm-hmm. Either it's sin and we encourage people to repent of their sin so they can draw nearer to God, because sin is what separates us from God. Mm-hmm. Or we say, well, we're trying to be loving and inclusive, so we're going to bless this sinful union so that you feel all good inside. And we love you so much. And look, there's nothing wrong with loving people who are living in this particular lifestyle, but blessing it like officially, that seems problematic to me.
Yeah, because it literally goes against the Bible. And I don't know why. You would think the Pope, who's at the head of their church, like he should know this. Him trying to compromise, like you said, it's like, oh, it's like you want to be part of the world, which we're not supposed to be a part of. This also reminded me when they brought up the pastors doing it in Europe earlier this year. I think it was like in March. When they were in Germany, the Catholic priests in there were talking about how they already wanted to bless same-sex marriages. And they also want the right for women to like be pastors as well, which we also know that goes against the Bible as well. So I remember at the time, because I think we talked about it on my channel for a second, I got really confused because I asked one of the Catholics on my channel. I was just like, in the Bible, and at the time I didn't read the whole story yet, but I knew a little bit of it. I was like, in the Bible, aren't they supposed to depart from the church for a little bit, get that sin worked out, and then be allowed to come back in? And all I got from the people watching me that were Catholic was like, oh, it's more complicated than that. But what I'm confused on is, why is that complicated? Because we know Paul in his letters that he wrote to churches, he straight up said, if you live in X, Y, or Z and it goes against God's word, you have to get out the church until you work on all that, and then you get up out that lifestyle, you can come back in. So I don't understand what's going on with the priests like, no, we're going to do this, because you're starting to look like a Protestant church that's doing whatever they want.
Yeah, I've seen a couple clips that are interesting when it comes to the inclusivity of this LGBTQ agenda in the Catholic Church. Like, I think there was one where there was like a drag nun going down.
Yeah.
Do you remember that one? Have you
Yeah.
seen that? Yeah. Things like this that make me think that overall the church is heading in a direction that is against God. And I do believe that we are in the end times and we're inching very close to the return of Jesus. And we know from what the Bible teaches about these times is that we're going to be gearing up towards the Antichrist's rule. And this, it sounds to me like a one world religion. And so I don't know what that's going to look like. I don't know what that's going to look like, but I can see how some of the traditional strongholds of the Christian faith are breaking down. It's starting to see that, because like, I think we did a story on another Catholic church, a diocese that was like, that was compromising on abortion.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, so now we're seeing, okay, more LGBT kind of compromising at the high levels. I mean, we're talking about the Pope here.
Yeah.
It sounds like things are shifting so that as God's timeline is progressing, the world is more geared up to fall in line with the events of Revelation.
Yeah. That is true. Because I'm starting to see stuff now where if you are a Christian that literally follows the Bible, you are now like an extremist or some type of phobe, whatever you want to put in front of there. You're just like this crazy person that refuses to be a part of the world. And we're seeing what's happening to those type of Christians as well. We're being persecuted, right? Or you're being followed by the FBI, or they're keeping tabs on you or something. I feel like as more and more time goes on, they're really going to try to get us up out of society. Maybe not in our lifetimes, right? Maybe in the kids or the grandkids or something. It's going to get worse, like you said, because we are in the end times. It's going to take time to hit certain points, but I feel like it's just going to be worse and worse for us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because even with some of the political situations going on, we're seeing compromises, and slowly these institutions are breaking down, and we are further removing not only God, but the values that align with God. So not just taking God out, but also going against the values completely. The things that come to mind: transgenderism, abortion. Just those are at the top of the forefront of my mind right now. But yeah, I'm starting to see a lot of compromising going on, and I would just encourage any Christians out there, really dig into the Bible. Understand that people in the faith are going to have different points of view, but do not compromise on the essentials.
Yeah, we're told not to. anyways. Now there's certain things that it shouldn't matter, and I think that's in Romans. I think it's like Romans 14, where if you're a Christian and like another Christian's like, well, I don't eat pork, right? And you're like, well, I do. That's not something y'all should be arguing about. That's so trivial and stupid, right?
Yeah.
But like you said, the basics though, when we want to talk about like blessing gay marriages and killing kids and stuff of that nature, you can't compromise on that. You can't sit here and be like, I'm a pro choice Christian. That doesn't even make sense.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't make sense in the slightest. So that's something, if y'all not already doing, you gotta really think about and read more up on, because you can't. God says you can't live on both sides.
Yeah, and I do believe that his grace is so powerful that he takes into account our ignorance. I really believe that. But then again, when you have someone like the Pope and you have these high-level elders of the church compromising on things that they know is sinful and problematic, I can't even imagine how much damage that's going to do to the souls of a lot of different people who will no longer feel like, oh, well, like it's not really a problem for me to be a Catholic or a practicing Catholic or a practicing Christian and also maintain this sinful lifestyle because they blessed it,
Yeah.
They're progressing.
Yeah. We have to remember too, pastors and all them, they get judged way harsher than we do.
Mm-hmm.
So, like you said, God may factor in our ignorance and stupidity. I don't think he's going to do that with them.
Yeah. What is the saying? To whom much is given, much is required.
You know what I was watching the other day? There's a movie called Sunday Morning Rapture. And I wouldn't recommend y'all watching it because it's really only good those last like 5 or 10 minutes after the rapture pops off, because then the movie ends like right after that. So everything prior to it is like bad acting and nonsense. But basically, what ends up happening, the rapture happens, and the people who didn't make it run to the church where their loved ones went, that were begging them to go to church and all this other stuff. And they get in there. There's people in this church that did not make it. And they cry and it went because they know what it is. They're just like, oh, it wasn't just words. They wasn't just talk. They was serious, right? There was 2 pastors left behind. The main guy that was preaching, he was gone. People that was preaching Sunday school, them and the kids was gone. There's 2 pastors left in the main area that didn't make it. And one of the guys, it was so interesting because he was saying how, oh, I studied the word and I did X, Y, and Z. I learned apology. I did all of this stuff. And he was like, I brought so many people to the cross. He's like, when I should have been going there myself. And I'm watching this and I'm like, my brother, you did all that and you still didn't believe in Christ. Like,
man, that's rough.
That's crazy. I was like, that's why you got left. You had one of the guys that ran in. He was like, how much to get me up out of here? Like, how much I gotta pay to get to heaven? Like, one of the pastors that didn't make it was like, my brother, don't you see? Like, you not going to heaven. You can't buy your way up out of here. It's over. We're all stuck. We're doomed. And I wish they would have showed what happened, like life on earth after that. But the movie ended like right after that. It's interesting because the pastors that didn't make it reminds me of the pastors in this story where they're compromising on things because they should know better. They're pastors.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, y'all keep playing around if you want. When that time hits, you're not going up.
Yeah, there's this like clip off of some show called Castlevania. I don't know if you're familiar with it.
I know what Castlevania is.
Okay. Have you ever watched it?
Nah, I remember the video games when we were kids, but I've never seen the anime.
Okay, so yeah, I guess it's on Netflix, but my husband likes it. And he showed me this clip where I guess he's like a some kind of I don't want to say Catholic, but some kind of like clergyman. And this like demonic beast comes in to kill him or whatever. And he's like, but I served you or something like that. He was like, I'm a man of God. And he's like, God hasn't been here in a long time. Like, basically, you know, like you're playing the game. I know. I was like, ooh, chills. I thought about it, talking about that on Bold Reflections, but I was like, we'll do something else. But it was interesting.
Oh, that's crazy. Imagine hearing it. But it says in the Bible, those who say, Lord, Lord, just because you're saying all that, and they'd be like, didn't we do miracles in your name and cast out demons and blah, blah? Jesus just like, I never knew ye.
Yeah, man. That's a scary place to be. And that's why, even though so many people, I mean, gosh, how many comments have we gotten that are just like, poo poo, you Christians, you're so judgmental, you're so this and that. Like, I did a video on my channel about something similar where the church was blessing drag nuns, or
your last
the
video.
the sisters of perpetual whatever, that like danced on the cross, all disrespectful. Those same people were getting blessed in the church, and the congregation was like doing like this kind of like chanting thing, blessing them or something. That is exactly what I'm saying. Like, and I got comments that were like, basically, oh, well, you don't want them in your church, so what are you doing in their church? And it's like, I just want people to follow Jesus. I just want you to get saved and not go to hell. All right?
Yeah.
Like, I just love y'all. That's all I'm trying to do.
Yeah, because that shouldn't have been happening to begin with in the church. That's just like I noticed, because it's not, like I said, it's not just Protestant churches anymore. Because I know a lot of Catholics like to be like, oh, your churches have corruption and blessing gay marriages. Not all of them, but I get what they're saying. There is some that make us look bad, or they do like night at the movies and stuff for their Sunday services and crap. But we're starting to see it drip into the Catholic Church like a lot. Because this isn't, now that the fact that they have to talk about this, and I tried to watch a video on it too from like a Catholic channel. I think they're supposed to be talking about this all week, at least at the time we're recording this, guys, because the article dropped on the 3rd. This is the 4th. You guys aren't going to get this for like a couple days, but I just feel like they're supposed to talk about this over the next week or something. And it's like, well, what is there to really talk about? It's not that complicated.
Well, we live in very dark times. Spiritual blindness all around, even in places you wouldn't expect, like the Catholic Church or even other churches. Like, it's very sad. It's very sad because you're leading people. What's next? Okay, so we already know you compromised on abortion. You're already compromising. I don't know if the Pope is compromising on abortion, but we've seen in down the line,
seen it in the churches, though.
Yes.
Yeah.
What's next? Transgenderism?
Probably.
Transhumanism? Well, like, come on. What? It's crazy. Demon worship? Witchcraft? Where are you going with this?
I mean, hey, remember we were looking at the one festival that looked like the Grammys night?
Yeah.
that was created by the excommunicated priest from the Catholic Church.
Yeah. See, and that one, I feel like that's a rogue one there, but I don't know, like, where's it gonna go with the actual clergy? Like, if we're just compromise, look more like the world, try to get them all in. Talk about seeker friendly.
Yeah. I mean, I get what you're saying. That was a rogue one, but like he did get excommunicated for playing with tarot cards and stuff and wanted to jump into demons and Ouija boards, whatever it was we talked about. So can you imagine if more did that though? On top of all the other crap.
It's like, Jesus, please come back tomorrow.
It's like, well, hold on, I want to spend time with my kid. Don't come back just yet. Like,
okay, you can wait a little bit, just a little bit.
Just
no, but honestly, I don't want to rush it either, because I think about how many people are going to be left behind that still haven't. That's why I think that God's given us so much time. He still has us waiting because he still knows that there's people that he can, bring into the fold. He will literally go for the one, leave the 99 and go for the one. So it's through his grace that he hasn't come back, honestly.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, things are getting a little tense for those of us who follow the way.
It is. It is. But you know what? This isn't supposed to be an easy path to follow. They said the door is not like broad and wide, because that's the door to hell. They said it's very narrow to get through. And that's cool. We got to take the narrow path. It got to be a little bit harder for us. We got to deal with people hating us because he said, the world was going to hate us because they hated him first. That's cool. I'll deal with it.
Amen. All for Jesus. I'm down.
Yep. Do you watch a channel called Mapala? Because I was about to be like,
yes,
in the name of Jesus. And he screams it.
Yeah, that guy is on fire. That's cool.
Yeah. But all right, guys, in the comment section below, let us know what you think about what's going on in the Catholic Church right now with everything, especially if you're Catholic, because maybe you have a better perspective on things. Obviously, I know we all playing for the same team for the most part, but maybe y'all know more than us because like I said, we're not Catholic. Just let us know in the comment section down below. And who knows, maybe we'll pick your comment to react to on next week's episode. All right, guys, after the podcast, make sure you go check out Jasmine's channel. It's called Bold Reflections YT right here on YouTube. She basically discusses topics about life, faith, and culture through a Christ-focused perspective. Everything you're getting from her here, you're going to get way more over on her channel. She's done interviews with people. It's awesome. When you get the chance, hit the link in the description box down below and go check her channel out. You will not regret it. All right, so as you guys see on the screen, next story, it says the FBI issues warning about newly discovered pedophilic satanist extortion cult targeting children online. Now, the whole reason I wanted to do this story, because I recently just found out that apparently over the past year, thousands of kids have been missing in Ohio, and most of them from the Northeast Ohio area where I'm from. Guess who wasn't talking about it this whole time? Ohio wasn't.
Interesting.
They just put this information out like a couple days ago, and then I think yesterday or the day before, they finally busted one of the pedo rings that was happening up here that was like trafficking the children, but there's still like thousands of children missing. So then I saw this article, which kind of ties the knot on a lot of it. So, because it's not just Ohio, but this would made me want to do this because we just found this out a couple of days ago. Because everybody up here was mad. They're just like, how come y'all didn't tell us about this? But it says the cult that they were looking at uses platforms including Roblox, Discord, Twitch, SoundCloud, and Telegram to find new victims. And the FBI said in their public notice that the cult uses many names, including 676, 764, CVLT, which is, it spells cult, Court, Cascar, Harm Nation, Leak Society, and H3LL. Okay, but continuously evolve and form subgroups under different monikers. To gain access to a majority of these groups, prospective members are required to live stream or upload videos depicting their minor victims harming animals or committing self-harm, suicide, murder, or other acts of violence, the FBI said. The key motivators of these groups are to gain notoriety and rise in status within their groups. The group was discovered after police in New York arrested a 23-year-old named Angel Almeida on gun charges and began investigating his social media posts. Items found in his apartment included books pertaining to the Order of Nine Angles and a flag bearing the insignia of an American O9A offshoot, the Temple of Blood. Documents and sources familiar with 764 indicate the group is an offshoot of the Order of Nine Angels, a violent, subversive amalgam of esoteric Hitler worship, Satanism, and Wiccan tenets that American authorities recognize as a terrorist ideology that has been connected with murders and attempted terrorist attacks in countries including the US, Britain, Germany, Canada, and Russia. And then down here, because this part's crazy too, it says sources with knowledge of investigations into the 764 indicate the group has a network of a couple thousand participants and hundreds of highly active members who generate and disseminate the bulk of the child pornography and gore videos found in the group's channels on Telegram, Discord, and more obscure platforms like Matrix. According to the FBI, the groups target minors between the ages of 8 and 17 years old, especially the LGBTQ plus youth, racial minorities, and those who struggle with a variety of mental health issues such as depression and suicidal ideation. Okay, let's talk about it, because this is a lot. This is wild.
Darkness.
Yeah, this is insane. Well, first off, let's go about the group's target, right? They're targeting kids 8 to 17, which is, you're basically going from mad young to teenagers. But this right here, where it's the alphabet community, minorities, and those who struggle with a variety of mental health issues such as depression and suicidal ideation. What do we see literal schools doing on a day-to-day basis nowadays? They're pushing the alphabet agenda. They're pushing how minorities are better than everybody else. And they're pushing all of these mental illnesses. And they're trying to make it seem like it's normal to be depressed and suicidal.
Yeah, like that is not status quo. Like, yeah, of course, teenagers are depressed. Yeah. Oh, man. The enemy is working overtime because he knows his time is almost up. So he wants to victimize and just destroy people's lives. So right now, if you are a Christian, especially if you're a parent, you need to be fighting like a soldier right now, because your youth is not exempt from being a target, especially if they have access to the internet. It's just a fact.
Yeah. One thing, when I was talking to my friend not that long ago, she has 3 boys, and they're all about like 1 or 2 years apart from each other. And she was saying how they wanted to join Discord. Mind you, the oldest kid just started middle school. She didn't know what Discord was, but she told them no. Right? So when she was talking to me about it, I was like, good. They don't need to be on Discord. They're like way too young. And she was like, what is it? And I was like, you're talking to people on there. I was like, by you having children, you don't know who they're talking to. They don't need Discord. And I told her how I use it, but I was like, I'm an adult, and I'm pretty sure like in my Christian groups, I'm talking to like other adults and whatnot. I was like, your kids are probably going to be talking to like sicko, weirdo adults like this. So
wow.
Once I broke that down to her, she was like, "Ooh, I'm glad I told them no, because I didn't know what any of that was." I'm like, "Yeah, I wouldn't let my kids be on any of that stuff."
Man, it's like, am I weird for wanting my kids to grow up like it's the 90s or something? Like, I'm so over all of these apps and things that it's hard to keep up with. It's super hard to keep up with. I can, like, I'm not even that old, but I can relate to not knowing what half of this stuff is, because I'm out here just living life. Like, I'm not on my technology all the time. So it's hard. It's really hard, because this is the world that they're growing up in. And I feel sometimes like I can't keep up, but we have to remember that, again, if you are part of the body of Christ, you are in a war, and it's scripture and prayer and fasting that's going to keep you equipped for this battle.
Yeah, it really is, because we have to, I think I was talking about it with my Christian group the other day. You have to use so much discernment as a parent, and you have to be on it with everything, especially because you may know what goes on in your house, but if you happen to send your kids somewhere else, you don't know what's going on in that other environment. It's hard. It's like really hard. And I know we mentioned this before. I would also recommend, if you can, homeschool your kids. Homeschool your kids. Because that story I mentioned earlier, the kids in Ohio, you want to know who was leading the pedo ring? The head person started a charter school in Cleveland. They were running it. And the second person was like their family member. I don't know if it was like a brother or cousin. They had the same last name. They were working as a math instructor at Mathnasium, which is like an after school program that teaches kids, like tutors them in math or something.
Man.
So they're teachers. Crazy. They're teachers. So not only do you have to worry about teachers indoctrinating your children with the alphabet nonsense and all this other stupid stuff where they're just like teaching them math is white supremacy and teaching them how to read is racist, stupid stuff like that you have to already fight. Now you got to worry about the teachers putting your kid in some like child trafficking ring or something.
Yeah, or a satanic cult.
That's a whole other thing. The satanic cult, when people be like, oh, Satanism isn't bad. It just means you're an atheist. You gonna tell me after we just read this story? You gonna tell me Satanism ain't bad? Because they're
the world is so lost.
Yeah, because they're trying to put the Satan like after school clubs. Have you seen those articles? Yeah. They're trying to be like, oh, it just teaches them math and science and about the real world. Why is it called the Satan Club or whatever? Why is it called that then? Because your kid gonna be learning way more. They're not gonna be learning math and science and playing chess and all that.
Yeah, it is. We live in a very scary time, and it's coming from all sides, like social media, school, just TV, everything, music. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
I don't even know.
I can't look, just telling y'all, man, homeschool your kids. Be very mindful of what they watching, what they're consuming. Y'all gotta be like, your kid might get mad at you. You're always checking my stuff. Okay, and I'm the parent. And I'm gonna keep checking it.
Yeah, have discipline as a parent and authority, because if they detect that there's not going to be a real consequence, they will play you.
Yeah, they will.
Because they too are fallen and sinful humans.
Yep.
So it's so hard. It's so hard, and I understand, and I want to have compassion for a lot of these parents, but at the same time, like, it's time to wake up and look at the world. Like, this is where we're at. We're in a world where they make a movie like Sound of Freedom, and if you even talk about it online, they censor you. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is the world, and they, like, the media justifies this stuff being okay, or they minimize it. There's pedophiles aren't even called pedophiles anymore. They're called MAPS now. This is what we're living in. These sickos are everywhere.
Yeah.
I don't know. Parents, we got to step up. We got to step up out here. It's scary.
It is, because like you said, you want to raise your kid like it's the 90s. To a certain aspect, like we're talking about technology, sure, you could try and run it that way. But in a full scope, it's not the 90s anymore. Because think about when we was kids and what we would do to play our parents, right?
Yeah.
To get out the house and I'm gonna be at the park, you really somewhere else, right? Yeah, there's a chance you do that nowadays. You're gonna get scooped up by this little Satanist cult ring thingy that they got going on.
Yeah, man. We gotta pray. We gotta pray for our nation. We gotta pray for parents, these kids, that they too stay on the path, that they recognize, that they start waking up to the world around them. And I get, like, some kids are too young, but man, we gotta teach them.
Yeah. I don't think it's too young to start, because you're starting your kids out, they're pretty young, and they already know like how to, pray, and how you have them like talk to God, like, hi God, and all that stuff. So I don't think it's too young isn't the issue. I think it's the parents actually doing it. Parents need to just be more involved, because even if we, on a more basic level, like outside of this, like how many parents are actually involved like with teaching their children, just like on an educational level, period, right? Because I saw a video earlier, it's a 7th grade teacher that was like, your kids are at a 4th grade level, they came to me at a 4th grade level.
Dang, that's crazy.
Yeah.
To me, it's like we've outsourced parenting on a lot of different levels.
Yeah.
Because we have this nation that's set up for, well, add in some of the consumerism and materialism to it. And, people are living outside their means, they're racking up debt, and you feel like you need 2 incomes and everything's gone up. Then you have the political situation, which caused all kinds of havoc. And now we've outsourced education.
Yep.
Because we have to work 2 jobs. We can't homeschool. We can't do it. Technically, you can, but you just don't want to.
Yep.
And then we've outsourced, even like the baby years to daycare, because you're working, because you're trying to maintain this thing at the expense of something else, something far more precious. And that's not to shame anybody, but when you look around at what's happening, like, parents have been dropping the ball for a while. So even if you are in a situation where you have to work, then that's how much more you need to be doing, not backing off and being like, well, this is just where we're at. No one is going to care about your kid except for you.
Yep.
You have to do it, or no one's going to do it.
Yep. I agree with you. Also, the whole, like, when people use that excuse, I can't homeschool because we need like 2 incomes or whatever. I remember when I was live streaming and we were talking about homeschooling one day, somebody in my chat was like, I come from a single parent household and my mom homeschooled me.
Wow.
And I was like, well, how did that work? And they were like, she just worked at night. So she would work at night and I would be home with like my older sibling and they would watch me. And then during the day, like the mom would come home, homeschool, because homeschool only lasts like 2-3 hours depending what grade the kid is in. It's not all day like a public school. And then she'd go to sleep so she'd get ready for work, and then she'd go to work and do night shift.
Wow, that's awesome.
And I'm like, and I was thinking to myself, I'm like, yeah, if a single mom could make this work, because it's not like her mom had a glorious job either. She had like a basic average job. So I'm like, if she's making this work, I just don't understand 2-parent households that are like, no, we have to have 2 incomes. It's like, you really don't. You can make sacrifices for your child.
Yeah. I mean, I just think even parents are so like indoctrinated in the status quo.
Yeah.
That they don't even believe in themselves. Like, they think that you need a 8-hour time frame, that you need to sacrifice all this time and energy and money into it. You don't. You can simplify quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And they think you need a certified teacher and all these things. You don't. If you have a high school diploma, that's already good enough. But quite honestly, like, you really don't. And it's the government and the propaganda that gets you to think that you're not good enough. And you are. God's equipped you to be that parent.
Yep.
And you are responsible for the discipleship and for the education of that child. Yep. Not the teachers.
Yeah, and just so people can know too, there's a whole website where it lets you know, depending what state you live in, what government grants and stuff you can actually get for homeschooling. So if you really are like, I can't get homeschool materials on a single budget or whatever, or 1 income, even though you can, the books are like dumb cheap. They're like super cheap, and it already has all the plans and stuff right now. Like, you just got to teach it to your kids. The government gives you money for that. Like
Yeah, in
literally,
some
like
places.
every state has like some sort of program that doesn't. And it also depends on how much your income is that you're bringing in. So like where I live, for example, we make too much to get the grant to pay for the materials, right? Which is fine. It doesn't cost that much anyways. However, we're eligible for the grant for after school and field trips and stuff. So it's like, okay, if I want to take my kid to the museum, this is a field trip now. If I want to take them to the zoo, this is a field trip. The government's paying for it.
Yeah.
And they have stuff like this for like every state. You just got to see what your state offers depending like where you live.
You know, I was looking into a program in my state where something like that. And I was reading about how, you know, the people who opposed the bill to pass this legislation to have the money, they were twisting it in a way that was like condemning parents because like you're basically stealing from us, the public school, because do you see how these schools barely have any like, you know, instruments for band and art supplies? And it's like, okay, I'm already paying into your stupid system and you suck anyways, but but this is money that I need for my child. My child's worth having an education too.
Yeah.
And I'm still part of the community. Like, I'm not taking away from you. Like, my money is already going there anyways. So maybe I'm just taking like a little bit back. I know the government budgets differently. I get that, but my gosh, like the and of course you probably can guess which political side this person was falling on. Not gonna name any parties, Democrats, but yeah, I was just so irritated by that. I'm like, really? You guys are so extra. Why? Why are you like this?
If they knew anything, they would know that the school gets paid thousands of dollars per child to go there anyway. So what the school decides to do with that is on the school. So if you went to a crappy school like I did, where we actually got like the $1 million grant from Bill Gates and stuff, and they didn't use it on us. They
No,
didn't
but
use it on us
somebody
at
got
all.
paid good though.
Oh yeah, that somebody's pockets got lined because once we got that grant, it was supposed to go towards like redoing the whole school, brand new computer systems, things of that nature. You know what we got when we came back? They painted the lockers and repaved the parking lot. That's not $1 million. That's not $1 million. And that got called out on it. Everybody's like, what happened to that $1 million? Oh, but didn't you guys see the changes we made to the school? It's like you painted the lockers, which didn't need to be painted, and you re-put the lines down in the parking lot, which I guess that's not $1 million. Where the money at? What y'all do with that money? They couldn't explain it. That went straight to their paychecks. And I'm pretty sure that's happening in all these other places. Because a lot of schools, we'll use Baltimore, for example, their school system's trash as well. I think they were getting like 20 something thousand per kid. Yet these kids can't even pass their was it the standardized testing? I think it said with math, none of them pass math. The graduation rate is like dumb low, like barely nobody's graduating. 20 something thousand per kid. But yet people want to get mad at you because you want like $500 to do extracurricular activities with your homeschool child.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like I think it was about just under 7,000 per year that we could be eligible for.
Wow, your state's awesome.
Yeah, I was like, "Hey, that would be great, you know?"
Yeah.
But I highly doubt that it's only 7,000 per kid for the public school side.
No,
Like
it's
I
way
think
more than that.
it's way more than that.
Yeah. I think my high school was like 20 something thousand per kid, and it was our education was F level. And I'm not even joking about that. That's literally what they've been graded as, and they're still F level. They're trash. And yeah, people don't understand that in the slightest. It's like they have money for us. They're not utilizing it correctly.
No, these like school board people, they get paid so much money.
Mm-hmm.
That's where it's really going.
Yeah, that is where it's going. We deviated off, so like we start talking about homeschooling.
You know how we do.
But all right, guys, let us know in the comment section down below. What do you think about the Satan cult group? What do you think about homeschooling, since we deviated into that as well? Let's know in the comment section down below, and maybe we'll pick your comment to go over for next week's episode. Hey, once the podcast is over and you guys have a minute, go ahead and check out my channel. It's titled It's Your Girl Saying. Basically, I go over life topics, Christianity topics. I live stream every Monday through Thursday at 7 p.m. EST. On Mondays and Tuesdays, we do what's called the Conservative Christian Show, where we go over all the topics in culture and we look at it through a Christ-focused perspective. You know, on Wednesdays and Thursdays, I have a show called Christian Game Room, where I'm playing video games, but in between segments or pausing the game or whatever, we're having talks about the Bible. We're having talks about God, right? You guys may even bring things to my attention about what's going on in certain areas of Christianity. We just have nice long discussions about all of it. And if you're into any of that, gaming, culture, Christ, all of it, make sure to check out my channel. You will not be disappointed. All right, guys, last story for the podcast. This actually comes from Gabe. You know what, Gabe? I can never pronounce your last name, bro. My bad. But I know him. He was in Young Don Reborn's first Discord channel. I have to say first because that Discord got blown up a couple of times. I don't even know if there is a Discord anymore. But I remember him being in the first one because I was in the first one in the like early days. Gabe's like a really big Christian YouTuber. And I'm going to read what he wrote over here before we get into the video. But he said, when CBS News asked me for an interview about this Fort Worth school board meeting, I was tracked down by an LGBTQ pastor who passionately interrupted and told the crew that I was very hateful and unknowledgeable. I guess it's so hateful in 2023 to speak the truth that saves kids from being pushed off the cliff of confusion. I know there are many viewing this who have their keyboards ready to comment how this isn't Christ-like or loving. And my response would be what Jesus himself said. Do not think that I have come to bring peace to the earth. I have not come to bring peace, but a sword. Matthew 10. Jesus cares for children in such a way that he is not limited to their Sunday daycare. He wants to protect them in every sphere of their life. For us as Christians to be silent and on the couch while our schools go to waste is to be awfully complicit to the demonic abuse that is occurring. Love speaks the truth, and I pray the church would wake up to how we are called to go to battle instead of attending our safe space coffee shops. We need to stop shifting the image of Jesus to excuse our comfortability. Ooh, that kind of sounds like what we was talking about earlier with the Catholic Church.
Kids aren't actually receiving basic education anymore, but instead they're getting indoctrinated with the next set of the woke agenda in the hands of the professionals who don't know what a woman is. The argument is that we need to keep faith in the Bible completely out of our schools. But what's interesting is no one actually believes faith should be separate from schools. They have their own religion, their own set of propaganda that they're trying to get to the kids.
One resident argued Fort Worth ISD's values have changed.
To look into their enrollment has declined so much. So many parents that are sending off their kids to schools where their values are being attacked at every moment.
So basically, Gabe's whole point is that basically the schools, God isn't in schools anymore. And because of that, the kids are being indoctrinated and the way they're turning out now compared to how they used to be. Kind of how we just had our homeschool discussion, essentially. What do you think about the clip that we just watched?
I think he is spot on when he says they are pushing their own religion. This is a religion. It's what undergirds their morality.
Yeah.
Just like what undergirds our morality is Jesus Christ and his word.
Yeah.
They reject that. So they have another set of beliefs, ideology. And what undergirds that? I like the word undergird right now. But that is religion. Religion is what kind of guides you in which way to go. And there's this misconception that education is separate from morality, and it's not. It's just not. This is why, like we already talked about, it's time for us to wake up as parents and homeschool. I know, like, you don't want to hear that, but it really is. If you don't want your child to go to Rome and become like Caesar, it's time to wake up and teach them the way, you know?
Yeah. I agree with you, because kids just aren't learning what they're supposed to anymore. We just had a brief conversation about that. But it's all the basic things too. I think when like my dad was in school, like they would actually like, pray to God and stuff. I didn't get that when I was in school. That's been far removed, right? And we're even further from that now. I don't even think they have kids standing for like the American flag anymore, because now we see the alphabet flags in the classrooms. Yeah, I've seen videos where people, like, if they're driving around, they just see the American flag waving and they'd be freaking out. They'd be like, why is there so many flags up? This just feels like it's so wrong and blah, blah. It's like, you're in America. Why are you tripping about the flag being up?
We're just a patriotic people. Just because wherever you're from that's not our problem. Maybe you should have more country pride.
That's what you need to have. I gotta tell you a funny story. Across the street from my house lives like an old guy who used to be in the military. He fought in the war and stuff. So in front of his house, he has the American flag, and then underneath that, he has the POW MIA flag, and then underneath that is the what does it say? It's another military flag underneath that, right? My mom came over one day and she was just looking out the window as I was like getting ready so we could head out. And she was just like, wow, how many pride groups is that guy a part of? He got 3 of the flags. And my eyes got so wide. And I was just like, Mom, he's in the military. What are you talking about? He's in the military. He's a war veteran. And she just looked at me. She was like, how am I supposed to know that? I'm like, the flags will tell you that.
That's so funny. I love that.
She was like, well, how am I supposed to know what the flags mean? And I'm like, are you kidding me? They're not the gay flags. I don't.
Well, and there is a huge disconnect from people in the military and people who know people in the military and the general population. And yeah. I think the further removed we are, the less national pride there's going to be, because as you go along and you don't understand the military, you don't have the military tradition, no one in your immediate circle has ever been in that world, you're going to be less inclined to, I don't know if you'll vote a certain way, but definitely you won't feel as connected to the fabric of this nation. Yeah. Because there's less skin in the game, you know?
Yeah.
Did you have a lot of family that was military?
So her dad, I guess, I didn't really know him like that, so I have no idea. But I went to his funeral though when I was an adult, and it was at it was in Atlanta. Probably not Atlanta, probably on the outskirts, but it's one of the military cemeteries. It was really nice. So we went to that. And then I think one of her brothers probably served when she was a kid. But outside of that, like, nobody else went. And I think the closest we got was to me being in the ROTC program, but then I never went because when I was supposed to leave, my dad ended up going into the hospital and we didn't know if he was going to like live or not. So it was best for me to just be at home for that. So I didn't, I didn't go. But so to be fair, I guess she wouldn't really know any of that, because when the 2 people she knows was in the military, she was like 5 or 6 or something, you know. And then also nowadays, everybody's waving the alphabet flag in front of their house. Not everybody, but like at least where I live, I could see it enough times.
Really?
When I'm driving around. So if she's seeing that, I guess to be fair and charitable, to see 3 flags in front of his house, she's like, wow, how many pride groups is he a part of?
I love that. That's funny. Yeah, I live in the Bible Belt, so it's a rare sight out here. There is a lot of military people out here. Like, gosh, our whole neighborhood probably. We live pretty close to a base, but yeah, it's interesting. It's like we live in 2 different worlds, but the same country. It's crazy.
Yeah, because I would say the city I live in, I've seen a few flags, but not a lot. But when you get closer to Cleveland, you'll see them a lot more, especially if you go to the west side. You'll see them in front of a lot of houses. And every time we go out that way, I just be looking at stuff and I just be like,
Sodom and Gomorrah.
Yeah, because you get to a certain part of the west side, and Clevelanders, if anybody from Cleveland is watching, which I think she changed her username. I don't remember the new username, but I think it was like Honeypot or something, Purple Honey. I think she's from Cleveland based on old comments, but she'll know what I'm talking about. You go to a certain part on the west side, you'll see like the barbershops have the flag, the breweries, the little restaurants, people's houses and stuff. And you're just looking at it like, ugh. And then even some churches will be like waving it. And every time we go past a church, I'd be like, Synagogue of Satan.
Yeah, literally though, for real.
Yeah. So yeah, me and you, it's funny. Like you said, it's like we're in 2 different parts.
Yeah.
And we're in the same country.
It's crazy culture shock just even thinking about it. Like I'm amongst my people here, honestly.
Yeah. I used to be like that. I used to live in a red city, which was awesome. I can't wait to go back to that, which we're going to be doing next year. But I'm in a blue city right now, so you just got to kind of deal with it.
Yeah. Yeah, because I used to live close to Indianapolis at one point, and I think it's gotten probably worse, but even when I lived there, it was like, it's just interesting. It's just interesting because, like, at least in the outskirts of the big city, people are pretty red. Yeah. So I felt comfortable. But, like, you start going to, like, the more populated areas and you already know.
Yeah. That's how it is where I live.
Mm-hmm.
I lived in a lot of the red areas, which was, not that popular, but it was nice though. Like I just felt better. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it to y'all that don't live in those areas. It just felt so much better.
like freedom.
Oh yes, the sweet taste of freedom. Love it. But yeah, I love that Gabe went down there to talk to them. And I love that he used the Bible verse because a lot of people always want this hippie version of Jesus where he doesn't do anything. Straight up, do not think that I have come to bring peace to the earth. I have not come to bring peace but a sword. Jesus about that. He knew because that whole verse, I think the line after that, he's talking about bringing division. He says he even talks about even if you got to be separated from your mother, your father, your brothers, your sisters, stuff of that nature. He's like, I came to bring division and ruckus and all that. Wu-Tang. Like it's that's what he came for. He wasn't just like, hey guys, peace and love. Love is love. No fighting, no war. That's not what he's about. Because he got to come back. If this is how I know people don't read the Bible. In Revelations, he gonna come back on the horse. Who you think he coming back for with the sword? And then it's isn't his like robe dripped in blood and stuff? Like he's ready to pop off on people. He's fighting for us. Like
amen.
What? They think he was gonna come back down and be like, hey, Antichrist, I don't want to fight you, man. Can we just talk about it? Like, that's not what's going to happen.
Okay, that is $1 million like Jesus impression right there.
But yeah, like that's not what's going to happen. I don't understand why people just they need to read their Bible.
That was like the surfer bro Jesus right there.
That's what people think he is. Some hippie Jesus.
For sure.
Like, hey guys, why can't we all just love one another?
See,
like,
when I go into hippie Jesus mode, when I go into hippie Jesus mode, I go Valley Girl with it. Like, hey guys, like, oh my gosh, let's all be friends.
I can't. Well, I mean, I don't want to give Jesus a Valley Girl voice.
He kind of sounded like a gay dude. Oh, blasphemy.
Because then they'll be like, see, he sounds pretty gay to us. Like, we told you he was trans. I heard that argument before. It's like, what are y'all talking about?
Yeah, no, that is definitely not the Jesus that we believe in. But yeah, I like the surfer bro Jesus.
Yeah.
Well, I don't like him because he's not real, but you know what I mean. Great impression.
Yeah, but back to the video. Like I said, glad Gabe went down there to talk to the school board. The fact that he was tracked down by an alphabet pastor. I got to use this because you're not a real pastor at that point. I'm just saying, you not. But that's the whole thing where he was telling the crew that Gabe's hateful and unknowledgeable. That's all from the enemy right there, because they got to paint the picture, right? Oh, look at these unhateful, unloving Christians. They're not Christ-like. They're not this. They're not that. When Gabe is doing everything he's supposed to do. His job is to save the kids. Yep, being bold. Yeah, that's his whole job. So
good on them. We need more people to be like that.
We really do. We really do. We need y'all. When Jesus talking about coming with the sword, I got to come with the armor on, the helmet, the chest plate, the sword, some guns, all of that. Y'all got to come with all of it, 10 toes down, fighting for Jesus.
Amen.
You got to be a martyr. That's what you got to be. Well, I mean, if it's meant for you to be a martyr, not everybody gonna be a martyr, but
not everyone. I'm hoping to get raptured, but you know, if I'm called to be a martyr, then I guess that's where we're at.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Whatever God has planned for our lives, because I'd be done if it gets to it where they be like, "But round up all the Christians, we're gonna put them in jail." I'd be like, "I guess I'm going to jail." All right. Guess it is what it is.
Yeah, I'm not gonna denounce God over a jail sentence. Like,
yeah, see all my brothers and sisters in Christ in jail, be like, "Hey, what's up, y'all? Woo!" We can start worshiping and praising in jail. You can't stop all of us.
That's right.
Then it's gonna be like, kill them, kill all the Christians. It's like, all right, guess I gotta die. I will.
I guess that's how it goes. Especially after all them heaven testimonies and stuff. Like,
oh yeah.
Well, I guess that's where we're going.
Yeah. I had a weird vision at one point of it was like people in like that police riot body gear, but they was going door to door seeing who the Christians were. And it was like they knocked on our door and they was like, "We're rounding up all the Christians, blah, blah." And I was just like, okay. And I just went with them.
I mean, that's happened in history to the Jews. And we know Revelation talks about some stuff. So honestly, I could see that.
I don't know if it happened during our lifetime, but it's a chance. Depending where you are in the world, we're pretty lucky to be in America. Because other Christians in other countries, they're like straight dying right now.
Mm-hmm.
They're being burned alive, beheaded. It's insane, depending just where you are around the world. It's even to the point where, like, if you're in Jerusalem, I've seen videos where kids and rabbis are like spitting on Christians, like walking by them. And that made me feel a certain way because I'm just like, bro, I want to go one day and I want to experience all of that, but why y'all got to spit on me?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's like, I don't want to get spit on.
Man, what a dark time we live in.
Yeah. So, but with that said, guys, let us know what you think about Gabe's video. And also make sure to check him out. He has like a really cool channel. He's like a really big Christian influencer. So, but yeah, guys, let us know what you think in the comment section down below. And who knows, maybe we will pick your comment to talk about in next week's episode. All right, y'all, that was another episode of So This is the World Christian Podcast. Thank you for hanging out with us. Once again, I am Michelle. This is Jasmine. We appreciate you guys kicking it with us for this hour and 10 minutes. As always, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss when we drop videos. Make sure to go like us over on Rumble. Go leave comments over there as well. The link to that will be in the description box down below. And now that we're done, head on over to Jasmine's channel. It's called Bold Reflections. She's dropped her video for this week. It's called The Truth About What Happens to IVF Babies. Ooh, that doesn't sound good at all in the slightest. But who knows? Maybe she's playing us with the title. You have to watch to find out. So head to her channel to find that out. And when you are done over there, head on over to my channel. It's called It's Your Girl Saying. Watch the videos, the live streams, stuff for days. Get stuff on. So that said, we will see you guys next time.